Hello, welcome once again to Devardi videos. Today we'll be demonstrating the luster frits. We're starting out here with transparent cobalt blue as base. Absolutely beautiful color. Now keep in mind with these luster frits, it's very important to not overheat them. If you heat them to a bright red glow before they're incorporated into your glass bead, you run the risk of burning them and they just turn a dark, yucky color without any sparkles. So the idea would be to melt them and work them into the glass without overheating them. And that's what we'll be demonstrating here. This particular video will be using the golden luster by Devardi. Sparkly, beautiful luster frit. There it is. Now we've just applied luster frit to the surface of the bead, and we're going to hold that bead in the tip of the flame. And I really like to use tongs. Some people like to use the marver to work the frit, but I tend to use the tongs. It just seems to work so much easier. Now, as you can see, we're keeping that bead cool. We're not overheating that frit. We're just melting it in the tip of the flame. Watch it closely and make sure it doesn't turn bright red. And as it melts, we just roll it in our tongs. You can roll it on a marver, same way. Now that the frit has been worked into the glass, we can start getting a little bit warmer. The glass bead actually protects the frit from getting overly hot, so you can melt everything together once you have worked that frit into the glass. Now this same technique works with our non-luster frits too. Most frits are sensitive to heat until they're worked into the bead. They tend to heat much quicker when you apply them to the flame. Now here's a nice shot of this beautiful bead. You can see the sparkle in that luster frit, and here's a picture of the cool bead. We'll be starting here on another one in just a second. This particular bead we will be encasing the luster frit. Now when you encase the luster frit, that glass on the outside acts as a magnifier and really makes your bead sparkle. This particular color we're using is the transparent emerald green by Devardi. Absolutely gorgeous base color against that gold luster frit. And then we'll be encasing in a transparent light green by Devardi. Now once again, when we get started with the encasing, I'll be using tongs and for encasing. This is where tongs become even more essential. Now, a lot of people don't use tongs when they encase, but I find that they really work nicely. The nice thing about using them when you encase is that you don't need to heat the inside of the bead to shape that outer encasing. One of the biggest problems people have when they encase is that to smooth the outer surface of that encasing can require considerable heat, and that tends to move your designs underneath. If you use the tongs, you don't need that much heat, and you can keep the heat in the very surface of the bead. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about here in a minute. Now, I don't do floral encasings, so I don't know how effective this technique would be with those. But for this luster frit, anyway, and for dichroic and things like that, tongs are really handy. Now, I thought I'd mention that we have some of these lusters coming in a rod form, so look for those on our website fairly soon. And this luster, right now we carry it in a gold, cobalt blue, and an emerald green, but the factory is working on 5 more colors, so look for those too soon. Okay, we've finished putting the glass on for our encasing, and here comes our handy little tongs. Another nice thing about these tongs is they press out most of the bubbles. You'll see at the end here there will be very few bubbles in the outer encasing, if not none at all. But the idea here also is to make sure that we don't overheat that luster frit, and these tongs make that happen. You don't need to get that bead that hot to shape it. You can use a marver, but you don't get as much pressure as you would with the tongs. Now we'll just use the marver to smooth out the edges a little bit on the top and on the bottom. We're about to wrap up this bead. Thanks very much. Tune in to our other videos if you'd like to, and we'll show you a nice shot of the cool bead here in a second. Thanks again. Bye now.